Welcome everyone to your first class in Defense Against the Dark Tantas. I will be your teacher today, and today we are going over the finer points and lesser known abilities that you will have at your disposal as you defeat Tantas and unlock their abilities. Today's lesson we are going to focus on your main 3 attack magics in each of the 4 colors. Our next class, Defense Against the Dark Tantas 102, we will go over the finer points of support spells at your disposal. Now for today's lesson. As we've mentioned, you will gain access to 4 different colors of magic as you defeat corrupted Tantas across Athia. You begin your journey with purple magic already unlocked, so this is the perfect place to start. With purple magic, you have 3 main attack spells at your disposal. Learning when and in which situations to use each will make you incredibly skilled in battle. The 3 spells are Burst Shot, Shield Shot, and Scatter Shot. Each of these have their own specialties in battle and their own secret skills. As you collect mana, you can upgrade each spell a maximum of 3 times, allowing you to charge the spells, making them do more damage. First up, Burst Shot. Burst Shot is your most reliable and go-to purple magic attack spell. Charge it up and you will launch a projectile that can go a short distance, exploding and creating a much larger rock, damaging and more importantly, knocking enemies back. This spell is the most damaging of the 3 and best suited for crowd control. If you're surrounded by a large group of enemies, charging and releasing this burst shot will blast them backwards and give you a bit of breathing room. It is important to note that burst shot does have a mid to short range, so you'll need to be up close to your enemies to use it. However, it does have a high chance of causing critical damage, as well as knocking down enemies, leaving them open for a finishing blow. Shield Shot, much like Burst Shot, is a close range ability. However, with Shield Shot, as you charge up your magic, you will create a shield directly in front of you. This not only gives you much needed time to charge your spell, but also will stop small projectiles from hitting you. Releasing the spell will break the shield into tiny pieces, dealing damage over a wide area in front of you. A more advanced magic user will learn that while holding the shield in front of themselves, if an enemy performs a melee attack, the shield will respond by automatically bursting, causing a large counter attack damaging enemies directly in front. This is fantastic when being swarmed by many enemies and can help keep you safe from harm. Our last purple spell, Scatter Shot, is the most different from the other 2. Our only long-range purple spell, Scatter Shot shoots little rocks in a straight line over long distances. This is precise and long range, so while not good with many enemies, as you charge the spell from level 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, Scatter Shot will release a larger, more damaging burst of rocks at the enemy you're aiming at. Also exclusive to this spell, Scatter Shot when charged can actually pierce enemies, so lining up multiple in front of you and then releasing will be most effective and does have a small knockback effect as well. Next, we have Seela's magic, Red Magic. Red Magic focuses more on close range combat with heavy hitting, damaging attacks that require you to be up close and personal with your enemies. The 3 spells are Arc Slice, Blast Slice, and Rage Slice. Beginning with Arc Slice, this puts the power of a deadly fire sword in the palm of your hands. Quick releases of magic will perform combos of deadly sword swipes that devastate your enemies. Holding, charging up, and then releasing the spell will create a large arc of fire magic around you of about 270 degrees. This is very effective in large groups of enemies as it will push them back and do heavy damage. With such a wide arc, it can even hit enemies who are approaching from behind. If the spell is charged and then released while jumping in the air, you will instead do a ground slam on any enemies directly in front of you. Knowing when to slam or when to arc can be crucial in battle. Next, Blast Slice mixes close range combat and long range into one. Charging and releasing the spell will hurl a fiery spear at your enemy. If it makes contact, it will impale itself into them and after a short pause, explode, doing more damage to the enemies around it. Use caution when close to enemies, as the explosion from the spear, if you are too close, will interrupt your current action, causing you to stumble and miss important damage opportunities. Blast Slice, if charged and released while in the air, will have you perform a large jump towards your enemies, slamming into the ground, causing many fiery spears to burst from it. This can be used to quickly close the gap between you and your enemies, or to hit a closely grouped cluster of enemies. Lastly, Rage Slice. Putting the power of fire directly in your fists, you will unleash a barrage of melee punches on your enemy while charging to a final close range blast. This has the shortest range of all the spells and requires you to be truly on top of your enemies to perform. However, the spell does not leave you completely defenseless. If you lean into a direction of either left or right while charging the spell, you will strafe around your enemy, dodging out of the way of any blows they may try and hit you with. This is especially useful in one-on-one situations, as this is the only spell to allow you to dodge while still attacking. It is important to note that if you are surrounded, you are still vulnerable to attack from behind. Third is Prav's magic, or blue magic. With spells Fan Bolt, Chain Bolt, and Cluster Bolt, blue magic is special in the fact that with each quick release of your magic, you will throw a small water ball at an enemy. While not very damaging, this stacks up to 3 floating water balls around you that will later be used to boost the damage of any of your charged spells. Fan Bolt. This spell allows you to charge and generate multiple arrows connected together with water and ice. When fired, it fans out in a wide range in front of you, damaging all enemies it touches. While the spell hits hard and does a lot of damage to many enemies at once, each arrow is linked together, and if your aim is not true and a single arrow clips a piece of scenery, all the arrows will shatter, wasting the spell and doing no damage. Chain Bolt. Another long-range spell, Chain Bolt is the strongest and most difficult blue spell to master. Firing small bursts of water and ice over long range, as you charge the spell, you will release additional shots. If you can land these shots in the same place on your enemy, you will multiply the damage done, as well as have the chance to interrupt your enemy's attack and even freeze them completely, leaving them open to further attacks. This spell is best used over long distances against small groups of foes, as it's easy to become overwhelmed when surrounded by enemies. By far, this is probably the most powerful spell in the game, so this may be one that you end up using a lot. Cluster Bolt is your best area of effect attack in your blue spells. Charging and releasing the spell will rain icy arrows onto your enemies. These arrows fall randomly within a small area that increases range the more you charge it up. Best for mid-range combat, this can be fired, leaving you plenty of time to reposition yourself on the battlefield for a follow-up attack. While the spell can be damaging, its slightly random nature makes it more suited for large groups of enemies where it's more likely to hit multiple at a time. The fourth magic is Olas's, green magic. Green magic lets you harness the power of lightning and illusions. With attack spells, Pulse Dart, Seeker Dart, and Storm Dart, green magic is all about moving fast, tagging your enemies, and then hitting them with attacks that track in on them. Releasing quick bursts of your attacks, small bolts of lightning leave a glowing mark on your enemies. This marks your enemy, allowing any of the 3 follow-up attacks to home in on them, doing big damage. With Pulse Dart, once you have marked your enemies, charging this attack will send larger lightning bolts shooting at angles straight through them. This is not only great in the fact that you can already be moving away from the enemy while firing, but the lightning hits at an angle, so if other enemies are nearby, there's a good chance that they will be hit as well. Storm Dart is a fantastic area of effect attack. As you begin to charge, you will send pulses of electricity out from your body in a large sphere, damaging any enemies caught inside the bubble. As you continue to charge the spell, more pulses are released until a final powerful blast is sent when released. Marking enemies before charging will add extra damage to this attack. Please keep in mind that you are vulnerable still while charging this attack. Seeker Dart, one of my personal favorite spells. Once you have marked your enemies, charge the spell and release to call multiple bursts of lightning from the sky. Unlike Pulse Dart, these blasts come straight down from the sky, striking the enemy and the ground, sending a small shockwave out that can damage or interrupt other enemies as well. That's all the time we have for lessons today. Use this knowledge to go out and clear the corruption from the break all across Athia. I will see you back for our next class all about supporting spells. Good day!
Yeah, kinda tired after that.